Tell me why. It was all a scam. They were dancing for a scam. Okay. Now, we don't have to get into this docu-series, documentary, because I feel like I got played a little bit by watching it. So let's get into it. If you are new here, I am Denise Brady, your licensed marriage and family therapist. We talk about all things pop culture, mental health. So before I get into things, make sure you hit that bloop notification bell, bloop, hit that like, and subscribe. Now, okay, watching this Netflix, I see what y'all doing. You did the same thing with that other documentary, Dancing for the Devil. Now, you link us in, you hook us in with the NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and then by episode 2, you get dirty, okay? You make me realize this ain't really about the Backstreet Boys, about NSYNC. It's about a Ponzi scheme, okay? Now, I remember back in the day, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Old Town, Element, FAO, okay? I was watching Making the Band when Old Town was coming together. Okay, I was there, okay? So to see, what it unraveled to, what it became was about money, okay? And watching this docu-series, it was all a scam. Just like we have seen other 90s artists, bands, girl groups come on and say they made nothing. We saw it with TLC and Pebbles. A lot of these execs, these managers, were pocketing the money. And a lot of people were dancing, getting stardom under the guise of, oh, this person's going to take me to the next level, but at the cost of what? And I was hoping when I watched this documentary, I would learn more about some of the detrimental effects of pop music when it comes to the artists. I want to hear more about why NSYNC and Backstreet were pit against one another. I want to hear more about how the industry led to AJ's substance abuse problem. I want to hear more about how Lance Bass, it took him so long to be able to accept himself when it comes to being a queer individual. That's what I wanted to see. Now, maybe that was a little bit too deep. Maybe my expectations were too high, but Lou was a scammer. Okay, and we don't talk enough about how this was the biggest Ponzi scheme in the history of America. Now, we had your other Ponzi schemes, your Madoffs, you have those, but this one, everyone bought into. Everyone bought into having the magazine. Back in the day, the magazines would pull out with the posters. You had the boy bands posted in your rooms. You bought the tickets. You were doing the dances. You had the signs up outside the hotels waiting for them to come out, okay? So we all bought into it. And, it was interesting to see how a lot of people, no matter what Lou did, he was never a bad person in their eyes. His inner circle, the people who worked for him, really, one woman was like, I can never say anything bad about Lou, okay? And anyone who has spoken or talked inside the crew, they were some snitches. That's what she said, okay? Now, a lot of people got caught up in the limelight. They want to be a part of something. Lou had access. They want access. So some of them went along with it for a very long time. And watching it, the AI part was very interesting, okay? Because it shows you the power of AI, how they were able to make him in that video move his lips. That's kind of scary. And it shows you the future of AI, about how they are able to put words into your mouth. Now, yes, they were, segments from his book, but I thought that was very interesting. It showed me just how the power, the effects of what people can do with AI and how they're able to manipulate things. So keep your eye and your ears, all of it. Pay attention, y'all. It's only the beginning, okay? Now, I think back in the day, it's a generational thing when it comes to the whole blimp thing. I really didn't understand the hype, but I guess back then it was like a big thing. But it was a check for him, okay? It was an insurance scheme. It was fraudulent. And he had these boys, NSYNC, Backstreet. I don't remember, what was it, Human Nature? I don't remember that one. Okay, maybe that was after my time. Okay, but you had these guys who come from families who need the money. And I think that Lou played on them wanting to have fame, connection, family, that father figure. He really played on that, being Big Papa, being Papa. Okay, he played into this being a whole dysfunctional family. And you hear that when you work at jobs. Oh, we're just a big family. Red flag. If you ever hear somebody say that, it's a red flag. Run. Don't go to that second interview. Keep it pushing, okay? Because he used that manipulation to, in some ways, y'all might not like this, but they were kind of slaves in some ways. I think people might feel like that's a controversial statement because they had a lot of freedom. They were making money. They had girls. They have all that. But what this documentary lacked was showing the impact of all that fame. The Aaron Carters, the Knicks. I wanted to hear more about that. But instead, we focus a lot on Lou and his dynamics. And there's a way to focus on him and this Ponzi scheme. But I wanted to know the effects on the actual people who were closest to him and the people that he put on. And those people were the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. I wanted to know why they had to be against each other instead of coming together and just being two separate boy bands. I wanted to know that. But it seems like it was all an experiment. Okay? Once one didn't work, let me go to the lab. Let me get a group of people back together who really want this. Okay? Whose family need the money, who will not really look really into what I'm doing because they need the money and the fame, okay? And so you see over and over again how once he got sued, once he got out of his deal with NSYNC, where they had the lump sum of, I think, $64 million, wow, okay? Were there NDAs? Okay, now once they were able to break free of that, to me, the early 2000s was where it was. Okay, so once they got that dude, whoever started managing them after that, that's where their careers really took off for me. The early 2000s is such a nostalgic era. Everything now to me is trying to go back to late 90s, early 2000s. You had to be outside to experience it, okay? It was an era, okay? It shows you the impact of how musically, everything that was happening in music, pop culture, reality TV became really big at that point. All of it came together, and how people really want that again, okay? But I feel like it lacks substance. I want to know more about the Aaron Carters, okay? How fame at such a young age for him and his brother, okay? I really wanted to focus more on the victims. And like other documentaries I have seen, it focused a lot on the perpetrator. Okay? Now, Lou was going from one country to another country, promising things he could not give. But because of the gift of gab, he was able to duplicate documents, draw legal stamps to get this money. And it's crazy how in the end, he really didn't have to pay nobody back. They said it was at least 2,000 families over a 30-year span who gave and provided money to him, and they never got it back. Okay? And yes, those are victims too, but it's interesting how a lot of the boy bands, members of them, were not involved in this documentary. We only saw a little bit of it, but there's just a huge impact of the pressure of to show up, dance. Yeah, go upstairs, dance for them investors, okay? And to know that at one point they weren't really making any money. But you saw them everywhere. You saw them on tour. And let's talk about the impact of TRL. Because that is another thing that this documentary did not pick up on. The impact of TRL. Like, I want my TRL documentary. Where is that? Because that's going to give you a lot. Come on, Carson Daly. Come on, can we get that? Let me know in the comments if you want to see a TRL, a 106 in Park. I want a Docu-Series. I want 3 episodes. Baby, give me 14 of those. Real quick. Okay? Because that is really a part of history. And that was also what was lacking from this docu-series. All those people involved, it just felt very much like I don't know, did it feel quickly put together? It just lacked substance. It lacked detail. It lacked depth. Okay. I want to hear from the parents of some of these boy band members. I want to hear from more of the boy bands. I want to know where they at now. Okay. It's money in this series, but y'all got purveyors of pop. Whoever behind this. Y'all gotta get together because we could have done more. Okay? People are nostalgic for this era. And we get 3 episodes, 1.5 of it being about NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. But there's been a lot of turmoil since these bands broke up. We talked a little bit about the unfortunate death of one of his friends, who could not take the pressures and the different mental health things brought on by knowing that his friend was a scammer. Okay. And ultimately he took his own life. And, you know, this documentary, y'all should have had a trigger warning. I feel like there was a little bit of a blurb about if you are having thoughts or feelings, here's his website, credits. And Netflix has does a terrible job at protecting people's mental health, putting down the foundation of let's think about mental health first before money. We see that in reality shows. We saw this here. I'm like, no trigger warning, a quick blurb at the end of the episode. And I'm sure that there have been other repercussions mental health wise of a lot of these boy bands at the hands of Lou Pearl. But we didn't talk about that. We talked more about the assets, lifestyle, and the relationships that he developed. And I think that's great and all, but let's focus more on the people that he hurt. And it was interesting how some people might feel like they owe their, not lives, but where they are today to Lou. And in some ways, AJ said that we owe a lot, but not everything. Get that straight, okay? Because did he plant the foundation? Yes. Did he pour into them? Yes. But he took and took over and over again. And it's interesting, at the end of the docu-series, nobody was there for him. He ruined all his relationships. He does not have a headstone, okay? He did the most for everybody else, but once it all dried up, nobody was there for him. But I think the docu-series, it was all right. It was all right. Okay, I watched it pretty quickly. Y'all gave me crumbs. I want the whole sandwich. Okay, I want it all. Now, hopefully somebody sees this over there and they be like, oh yeah, TRL. Yes, give us a TRL docu-series. Give me about 14 of them real quick. Okay, I will sit there and watch all 14 episodes in one weekend. Okay, I will. But yeah, it just lacked substance. It lacked depth. And I want to know more about the aftermath of him passing away. Did people feel free from the strain of what he left on their mental health, who they are as people, and where are some of these people today, and how a lot of them are struggling financially, and how the effects of working with someone can have long-term effects on your psyche. But I want to know your thoughts. Did you guys watch it? Did you want more? Okay, we could have picked up a little bit on the whole Britney and Justin thing, all the 2000s. But yeah, Lou Pearl, you was a scammer. It was a Ponzi scheme. We all, in some ways, fell for it. But, of course, let me know your thoughts because, of course, you know, we can get into it. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.